We're going to the Big 12 for this one. I believe these are the two favorites right now, odds-on favorites to win the Big 12. Texas Tech goes to Utah. It's their first big test of the year. I think it's both their teams' kind of first big test of the year, and this is how they kick off Big 12 play. Thoughts on this game, guys?
Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be their first big test. I was hoping UCLA was going to challenge Utah, and now in hindsight, we're realizing that was like
I would not consider
Utah
that a big
won that
test.
game, and they kind of made a statement, and now we're realizing that the statement didn't really mean that much. This is actually their first big challenge. It's going to be a great game. The Texas Tech offense has been incredible through the first 3 weeks, averaging 53.5 points a game. That's second in the country. And then you've got the Utah defense, who's holding opponents to 8 points per game. That's third. So I think it'll be a really interesting, how does this Texas Tech offense match up against the Utah defense? That'll be a big thing to watch for. And then Devon Dampier, however you say that name.
Yeah, Dampier.
He's going to be really exciting to watch. Right now they're averaging 6 yards per carry behind that offensive line. They've also got Wayshawn Parker, who's averaging 7.4 yards per carry with 192 total yards. But that offensive line is fantastic. And then on the defense side of the ball, John Henry Daly, the edge rusher, has 14 pressures and 5 sacks through the first 3 games. That's tied for first in the country. He's been awesome on that defensive line. And then in the secondary, they have Jackson Benny. But he's been like an up-and-down guy. Right now he's a PFF grade of 80.9. But if you look at it, he's had games of 68.7, 90.4, and 51.3.
He's got a pick 6, too,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken.
I think I know he has 2 picks. I don't know if one of them was a pick 6. But it's just, that's kind of an odd thing to see from a cornerback. It's not what you want to see. You would love to see consistency. And so that's one thing you have to wonder is Utah going to be relying on, like, praying they just get a good game from him? And then on the Texas Tech side of the ball, Jacoby Williams has been very good. They lost Quentin Joyner right before the season started. He transfers in from USC, was a big transfer running back, expected to be the number 1 guy there. Tears his ACL, I believe. Doesn't get to play a snap. Jacoby Williams has posted a PFF grade of 91.3 with 28 carries, averaging 5.6 yards per carry. Texas Tech, very fortunate that you lose a guy who's projected to be a very good running back, and the next guy up has that mentality of like, I'm just gonna get it done, and he's been playing fantastic.
It's really been 3 of them too. Jacoby's been in both the receiving and rushing. He's got 3 touchdowns. He had a one-handed catch on a little screen where he just snagged it out of the air and took it to the house against Oregon State last week. And then Cameron Dickey ran the ball really well. He's got 4 touchdowns, almost 200 yards. And Adam Hill also has 200 yards. So they've got 3 backs. Which, yeah, like you said, like to lose Joyner is a terrible loss preseason, and yet these 3 backs have been very productive so far.
Yeah. The big matchup I'm wanting to watch in this game is the Utah O-line versus the Tech D-line. It's been an elite defensive line for Tech. They got David Bailey in the portal. Morello Height has played well as well. He's played well as well. But they've been a very dominant group. They've graded out well. People expect big things from them. And then on the Utah, they always have a good offensive line. This year's no different. Think about Caleb Lomu and Spencer Fano, both guys that are going to get drafted, probably both very high. They're the people that make kind of this Utah offense work with Devon Dampier, giving him time, giving him running lanes. They're a force. So it's like unstoppable force meets immovable object. I'm interested to see who wins that battle. As well as David Bailey and them, they've played well against the run, but they really love, to rear back and rush the passer. But this Utah offense is not really a standard offense under Devon Dampier. They're going to run him a lot. It's going to be a lot of shorter stuff. So I'm interested to see if that kind of takes away some of their power. But that's really what I'm looking forward to in this game, is to kind of see those 2 position groups square off and go against each other.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely not your typical offense. Dampier leads the team in rushing yards with 203. So he's definitely a big dual-threat guy, someone you're going to have to watch and use those D linemen. And also the linebacker, Jacob Rodriguez, leads the team in tackles with 12. He'll be someone to watch.
For sure.
Can he get to Dampier? Like, if he sneaks out of the pocket, is he there to get the tackle? But, yeah, that'll be interesting to watch. And then another thing to monitor, and I love looking for this, penalties. I try to look at penalties for, like, every team when I'm doing my research because I think that could be a huge deal. Right now, Texas Tech averaging 8.5 penalties a game is 118th, so that's good. You want to keep that down. sorry, that is bad. 118th. That's like
I was gonna
at
say,
the
yeah,
bottom.
yeah. You
That's
don't
at
you don't want to be in the
118th
hundreds.
being bad. So that is bad. That'll be something to watch. Do they end up, are they giving Utah first downs on holdings? Are they getting hands to the face trying to get to Dampier quick in the backfield, stuff like that? That'll be interesting to watch. You talk about that D line and that matchup to watch. Holding opponents to 1.3 yards per carry. That is crazy. So does this rushing, it is the immovable object against the unstoppable force. So I'm very excited to see this matchup. JP, do you have any more thoughts?
Yeah.
Hail State, by the way, Sven, as always.
Agreed. Hail State, Sven. Texas Tech, I thought last week showed something that I was curious if they would show this season. But with the team full of transfers and a ton of pressure put on them, were they going to be a team that could respond to some kind of downfall, setback, losing Joyner? They've done that with their backs. Last week, in the first quarter, they have the ball, first possession. Lightning strikes in the area. They have a weather delay for 2.5 hours. So essentially, they have to fully warm up again 2.5 hours later, and yet they come back out post that weather delay. 3 plays into the weather delay, touchdown over the top. Better Morton threw an unbelievable ball. It's an incredible catch by their receiver by the name of Coy Eakin. He made an incredible catch. He catches it where the defender's arm is in between his 2 arms, and he's pinned it on his arm. It was beautiful. They dominate Oregon State. Post a 2.5 hour weather delay. The crowd was an enormous crowd pre-weather delay. They were doing, I don't know if it's a tradition or whatever. Obviously, they have the throwing the tortillas a tradition. But they had one side of the crowd was red and one side of the crowd was white. It looked really, really cool. Post-weather delay, there was no crowd there. So they still responded from that. I thought that showed a ton from this team. And when you come into an environment like Utah, even if it's 10 in the morning local time, I think that's something that could help them a ton, maybe playing at Utah, which is one of the toughest places to play notoriously. And so that brings me a ton of confidence for Texas Tech. Like I said, Morton has been slinging it. I think it's 11 touchdowns to 1 pick. The 1 pick was last week against Oregon State. I actually think it might be the worst pick of the weekend with DJ Lagway and Garrett Nussmeier.
I may have to go. I'm going to go find that real quick.
It is terrible.
Yeah,
it is
I'll
terrible.
It.
It is downright terrible. It is. He's in the pocket. They're at 5 yards from the goal line. It's whatever to go to get to the goal line. He just kind of sits in the pocket for a while, and then he kind of just goes a little back foot, just kind of slings it into about 6 different people. It's just picked easily. It's
got a little too nonchalant with it.
Yeah, I think it was 2nd and goal or whatever, and it was you're just taking points off the board for no reason. Just throw it away or just try to run or go down. Anything would have been better than that. At least the Lagway picks, and the Nussmeier pick was terrible. I think it might be up there with the Nussmeier pick.
Sure.
But outside of that, he's been slinging it to throw 11 touchdowns. He's almost had 1,000 yards already through the air. I think Texas Tech is ready for this test against Utah. I'm really high on Utah, as I've shown over the past few weeks. And I'm really excited for the game because I think it's just a huge test for both of these teams. I think we're going to find out who's real and who's not. I think it's going to be a really close game.
They also both could be real.
Yeah.
It could end up being a kind of like the Georgia-Tennessee game where you walk away and you're obviously someone had to win, but man, I'm impressed with both of those teams because these are the 2 odds-on favorites to win the Big 12 for a reason. They're both good squads.
Also, you mentioned Coy Eakin in that catch. He's had a touchdown in every game this season. So shout out him for that.
He's quite good after the catch as well.
Very consistent. Has the highest PFF grade on the offense, I believe. I can't find the interception. We'll have to watch it. Look for it later.
We'll pull it up later.
Sure.
Another thing, we haven't mentioned him yet. Terrence Carter Jr., the transfer from Louisiana. I was really high on him when we did our Texas Tech preview. He's been incredible. He's got 10 catches, 200 yards, and 3 touchdowns, 1 in every game. Or 2 in one game, 1 in the other. 1 against Oregon State specifically. He's been a threat. I think he's kind of an X factor in this game. And I think because of him, I think with the way Morton is playing, I think Texas Tech is going to go in there and win this game. If it was a night game, I'm taking Utah all day. But a 10 a.m. kick, I don't know how much of a factor the crowd plays. And because of that, I think Texas Tech has the advantage. Shout out CT.
Yeah, this one's so tough for me because I do want to pick Texas Tech, but Utah is such a tough place to play at. The altitude difference a little bit, just not what these Big 12 teams are used to. I think it's the toughest place to play in the Big 12. That's my opinion, but it's just a different look, and they bring a good crowd. They have some pride in that program about protecting their home field.
Mm-hmm. They've sold out games for a decade plus.
Yeah. So I know it's an early kick, but I think I'm going to trust that they're going to do what they do in Utah, play well at home. It'll probably a little gross in the sense of they don't have the most explosive offense. I don't expect them to just run all over this Texas Tech front because it's that good. But I think they'll find some success or enough success to get it done and cover the 2.5 and win at home. But I think we're going to see a good showing from Texas Tech.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with. Wait, I was finding the video. Did you?
I picked Utah.
I will also go with Utah. I realized I was going to say I will also go with Utah, not knowing if you picked them.
Well,
I will also
you
go
would've
with
been
Utah.
right, so.
I will also go with Utah. Really excited to see Devon Dampier. But yeah, I think that the home field advantage. I think that they're going to show up. I think that when you've had a top 25 matchup, and Utah's kind of a program that's like been on the edge of thinking they were going to be like a good team with all those years of. I can't remember his name. Cam Rising, always being like not Heisman front runner, but like had his name out there as like a could be an elite quarterback if he can stay healthy. Never stayed healthy. I think that they've been on the edge of like something great for so long that now with Texas Tech coming to town, they'll show up, and I think you should expect a big crowd there.
Fair enough. All right.